is it too much to ask for? Yeah.
Hi guys, so the title of this video is Improve Your Photography Skills Using the Golden Ratio. When I was thinking for a topic for this video, I was really interested in finding out how concepts in mathematics could actually coincide or intersect with concepts of art, of photography, of videography, and stuff like that. So yeah, this is really something that can up your game in photography and something that can really be helpful to you in the long run if you're interested in art and creative stuff. So today I'll be explaining what the definition of the golden ratio is, the two most common types of golden ratio applications in photography, as well as how to actually take photos and edit photos using the golden ratio concepts. So let's get started. Basically, the golden ratio is a composition guide created by an Italian mathematician, Leonardo Fibonacci, and he came up with the idea after arranging a series of numbers. So here's the math behind it, and it's actually really simple. First, I think it's important to remember what irrational numbers are because I forgot what they are before I researched on this. So an irrational number is basically a number that cannot be expressed as a fraction with integer values in both the numerator and the denominator. So in simple terms, when irrational numbers are expressed in decimal form, they go on and on and on, and they don't ever repeat. So a famous example of an irrational number can be pi, or 3.14159, and so on and so forth, or 22/7. Those are all the same values. Let's try to picture a line. So this line is divided into two parts, part A and part B. So as you've noticed, the length of part A is not equal to the length of part B, meaning the line is not equally divided in half. But what's interesting to note is the ratio of part A, which is the larger section, the part B, which is the smaller section, is actually equal to the ratio of the whole length of the line, so that's A and B, to part A. Putting this in a formula could look something like this. A over B is equal to A plus B over A. So the number that comes out of this formula is actually an irrational number that is approximately equal to 1.618, often referred to as the golden number. Now that we know what the golden number is, or the golden ratio is, there are several ways we can actually use it. But in this video, we'll only discuss the two most popular ones, the phi grid and the Fibonacci spiral. So, have you guys ever opened your camera and then you see like this grid with 9 squares or rectangles that are like equal in size to one another? That's the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds follows a 1:1:1 ratio. But the phi grid, even though they look similar, is different from the rule of thirds. Instead of dividing the frame into 3 equal parts, the middle part or the center lines of the phi grid are actually closer to one another. So the phi grid follows a ratio of 1:0.618:1. So the Fibonacci sequence is a series of numbers in which each succeeding number is the sum of the two preceding numbers. A Fibonacci sequence could look something like this: 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so on. Knowing this, the Fibonacci spiral, or the golden spiral, is built from squares whose lengths are all Fibonacci numbers. Picture it like this. If you split a rectangle according to the golden ratio, and then you split the smaller half in the same way, and so on and so forth. Eventually, you'll be left with several quadrilaterals that look something like this. Now, if you take this figure and you connect the corners of the quadrilaterals using a curved line, then it creates a spiral, and it looks something like this. So now that we know all of this information about the golden ratio, the golden spiral, the Fibonacci sequence, how can it actually be present in art and photography? Interestingly enough, the golden ratio existed even before the existence of cameras. It's present in paintings such as Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa and The Last Supper. And it's also present in ancient architecture such as the Great Pyramids of Egypt and the Parthenon in Athens. So now I'll actually demonstrate and give you guys a tutorial on how we can take pictures on the iPhone using the applications of the golden ratio. To start with this, we actually need the Adobe Lightroom app. So first, what you're gonna want to do is to open the Adobe Lightroom app, and once you open this app, it'll ask you to continue to sign in into any of these options, into any of your accounts. So just fill in your details and then sign up, and then it should lead you to a menu that looks something like this. So from here, you're going to open your camera photos and then take a photo, and then it should lead you to this kind of camera. So you open the three dots on the top right corner and then click the grid and then click the fourth button. So it should give you the phi grid that looks something like this. So unfortunately, due to the pandemic, I don't really have any access to like a landscape or anything to take a picture of because I live in a tiny house and I'm not allowed to go outside. But basically, this is what it's supposed to look like when you're actually taking a shot at landscapes or something like that. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to edit your pre-taken photos and apply the rules of golden ratio into your pictures. So unfortunately, there's no easy option for you to be able to do this on a phone. So you'd have to download Adobe Photoshop on your desktops or your laptops. Adobe Photoshop gives you 7 days free trial and it lets you use it even without a credit card. So what you're going to want to do is to open your picture in Photoshop, and then you're going to be taken to a menu that looks kind of like this. Next, I want you guys to select the crop tool and then draw a crop box over the image. Next, you're supposed to click on the overlay options and then select the composition tool you want. So Photoshop actually gives you two options to apply the golden ratio. You have the phi grid or the Fibonacci spiral or the golden spiral. I find that the phi grid is more helpful when you're dealing with hard structures such as lines and architecture or something like that, but the golden spiral is really helpful when you're dealing with subjects such as people, animals, nature, something that doesn't really have any hard lines on it. So now that it kind of looks something like this, you're going to want to adjust the crop box to fine-tune your composition. So you can adjust the spiral to go onto the subject, and if it's not in the right corner of the image, you can select the cycle orientation option. You're going to go to the same drop-down menu that you selected the composition tool from, or you can also press Shift+O. So when you're done editing, your photo can look like this, and then you can just click enter. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that you learned something new from the concepts that I explained. I hope that this can actually be helpful for you when you're taking landscape photos or when you're just trying to practice your photography skills during this quarantine. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.